Hello everyone, welcome to this new webinar. Today we will present you a feedback on the rollout of an high accuracy location solution in the aerospace industry. Let me present you all the speakers, and then you can ask questions during the webinar by using the interface, and then we will answer at the end of the session. So, our speakers today are Grégoire Tilley-Duboulet, project manager at Orange Business Services. Then Santu Puli from Coupa, which is the senior customer manager. And then Willy Lemercier, which is sales director at ELA Innovation. So I give the floor to Grégoire. He will present you the context of the projects.
So hello everyone, Grégoire Tilley-Duboulet. So I'm project manager for all the tracking stuff what we are doing for inside Orange Business Services. So I will start with the context of this project. So we're speaking about a project we deployed last year in 2019. In France, in a large customer in the aerospace industry. So this customer came to us 1 year ago, and with a key challenge to reduce the time wasted by searching the tool and equipment. So really the first idea of the customer was to increase the global team operational performance and to limiting losses and thefts of their equipment. So we start looking for a solution for asset indoor tracking. And during the pre-sales, time, we identify that he was spending more than 20% of their time, the worker in the factory, searching the tools, which was quite huge. And by trying to understand exactly what could be behind this asset tracking solution, we identified the fact that we could use this solution to also automate some tasks, such as inventories, and to improve globally the equipment traceability. So one of the key challenges since the beginning was the fact that we have to integrate this new solution, what we will bring to the customer, into the existing tool of the customer, which is his ERP. So globally, regarding the business model, we quickly understand that it will globally increase the team operation performance, as I mentioned, but also to help him to analyze equipment usage, frequency, and globally how to optimize equipment payback. So finally, the business model is really based on 3 items: the globally operational performance, to reduce capex for tools, and generally, all in all, this solution in this aerospace company reduce late fee and help them to better meet their deadline, which is really a key challenge for in the aerospace company today. Regarding the security, since the beginning, as Orange Business Services, we take this part into account, of course, regarding all GDPR compliant, but also to ensure globally the system availability, to choose the right technology and the right partners to be sure that we will have a very good and a robust system. So, by the way, all the data are stored on site on this project, but we're also able to work on the cloud. So this is the global context of the project we are presenting today, and now I will more focus about what we're doing as Orange Business Services and more present the company. So Orange Business Services, it's a big company we're installed worldwide, so we're people based on each continent, and with really around IoT, the idea to leverage what we're used to do, which is telco and service integration, to develop industrial solution and to push the IT OT convergence. So we're really aware of the IT constraint, which is our core system. We have people specialized in cyber defense. We have cloud experts, more than 2,000 cloud experts in the group, 2,000 big data experts and IoT experts. So we're really used to these problems, and the idea is to develop new business solution for our customer, thanks to this core business and our co-innovation capacity with partners and customers. The partners in this IoT strategy are really a key asset of OBS. So today we're presenting with this webinar with Ella Innovation Cloud, which are one of our biggest partner for IoT and for geolocation, but it's not the only one. And today, really, the idea is to use the strength of every partner, every company around the world to be sure that we will help our customer to have the best solution. Globally, we have an OBS worldwide presence to scale up solutions and to address multinational customers. So at the bottom of the slide, you can see what we call our data journey, which is really relevant for IoT. And we can see that finally we, as OBS, are relevant on each of the parts, from the collect with the telecommunication part to transport, again, telecommunication part, store and process with our cloud expertise, analyze with our data expertise, and of course, all the protection and the consulting pre-sales part and integration part with our partners. If we focus more now on geolocation, you can find here our four main offerings. So the quality process is the idea to track your asset, but you track your assets with some key indicators, for example, shock, temperature, or humidity. So a good example for that is the cold chain, when you want to remain sure that the temperature stay in a given range, and you want to receive alert when you go outside this range. Smart inventory, I will describe this straightforward. It's as mentioned, the fact to automate some inventory and to control it, to manage it. Yard management is more focused on the real-time location and how to process your how to manage your work in process asset in your factory or between your factory when you have a small factory. And tool management, it's why we are describing today. It's what we deploy for this customer. It's the idea to have real-time tool location and to increase, to reduce the search time and to reduce the capex for tools. So globally, to increase the productivity. So we are deploying this in aerospace, but not only. We do that for some big customer, also for in maritime and shipyard companies. This offering, this geolocation offering, are supported by a team of experts based mainly in France, but not only. I repeat, but we have people in Europe, but also in US to support this IoT and more specifically this geolocation offer. So the support we have our own help desk, and we're able to do some L1 to L3 support, all the maintenance, the fact that we, as OBS, we know the technology of our partners. We don't have many partners, but the few partners we have, we really trust about the fact to go deeper in the technology, to understand their product, to be sure that we will be able to sell, deploy, and support perfectly the technology we're deploying. It's what we're doing with Coupa and Hela. The training, of course, which is a big part to how to integrate the new tools in the existing process of the customer, and how we are able to customize and sometimes co-innovate with our customer around specific use cases. So if I come back to the customer environment, which was quite a complex industrial environment, so we had plenty of metallic structure which are moving inside the factory. A lot of materials really moving inside the factory. Several sites we deployed. We start by 2 sites, but we will deploy it on several sites with several buildings per site and a ceiling height around 8 meters, which was, we will see that just after, which could be seen as a difficulty, but finally would work perfectly with the Coupa technology. And one key point was the very heterogeneous site density between sites, but also inside the same site. So we really need a robust solution and a solution who helps us to play with this heterogeneity. So our approach with the customer to build the solution was in 2 phases. The first phase was the pilot phase with 400 tags and 18 locators, so 1,000 square meters. This first pilot phase has 2 objectives. First, the first objective was to validate our technology choice, so the Coupa technology choice. The second one, which is perhaps the most important one, was how to validate the technology integration inside the existing business process of the customer, which is really a key point, because as you know, you have all your existing process, and when you bring a new tool inside this process, we have to be sure, and we will help you to be sure that this how to integrate this new tool in your existing tool, which could be an integration directly in the ERP, so play with API and so on, but not only, but also how to help people understand this new tool, how to train people, how to be able to show to the people the value of the tool. The second phase was the deployment phase. So the pilot phase was for 3 to 4 months, and the deployment phase was during 6 months. And today we have more than 25,000 tags into the different sites and more than 200 locators. So this complex environment, this complex industrial environment, pushes us to look for the right technology with a precision around precision expected around 3 to 5 meters. So we were working on Coupa at this time and as a partner, and we choose to deploy Coupa technology, a BLE technology, which we know pretty well, and we know that this technology will help us and will allow us to reach both the complex to work in a complex environment and with the right accuracy. So I will let Sandy to present Coupa.
All right, thank you, Grégoire. So for those of you who don't know Coupa yet, Coupa is a RTLS technology provider, and for those who don't know what RTLS means, it means a real-time location system. But the first slide is to give you an overview of the technologies in the field, and some of you, probably a lot of you, have some familiarity with these technologies, and even you might have used some of them. And the ones that we have here, there are a couple of little bit more like legacy technologies, and some of them are newer ones. But all of these technologies have their own good sides and bad sides, and most of the impracticalities and challenges often relates to the accuracy and the latency that technology is causing. Also, the cost may be prohibitive for some use cases, as well as the power consumption of the tag or the system that is being used as a tracker. So what Coupa brings into this equation is a little bit unique approach, and it's very much rooted in the science, as I will explain a little more details down the road. But what we aim to do with Coupa is to mitigate these challenges, to be able to really to do it in the real time and really highly accurate, like sub-meter accuracy, what we're able to do. And the tag that they only are not just power efficient, but they also have a common standard like BLE or Bluetooth behind it. And what we do we try to make it as open and interoperable as possible to sort of increase the applicability of the system. Next slide, please. So actually, Coupa is not something that has been recently coined, but rather the technology goes back to, like I said, it's rooted in the science. It has been already built in the university before the Nokia times, but the founding team of Coupa has been working as a research team in Nokia Research Center since 2005. And the company Coupa was incorporated in 2012. It was a spin-off from Nokia. Currently, we are a global company with offices, headquarters in Espoo, Finland, but offices in Washington, D.C., Shanghai, Shenzhen, Beijing, Sydney, Mumbai, and Dubai. We have more than 500 customers, and to understand customers this way is that we have more than 160 of them business partners, system integrators or solution providers such as Orange, and tag vendors and tag manufacturers just like Ela, which we are doing this, co-hosting this webinar today. Coupa has delivered over 2,000 systems worldwide, 50 plus countries. And if we talk about, for example, previous year, I think to mention, if we start from the right-hand corner, lower corner, the Bluetooth SIG, the Bluetooth Special Interest Group, published last year the 5.1 direction finding standard, and we have been very actively participating in defining the standard. Last year, we also announced the global partnership with Ela and Orange, and we since we are also a hardware company ourselves, we launched our second generation locators to the market with new subscription model. And the last thing on the left hand side, I took the one separate example here. The one of our partners, Wisehockey, they want to contract to deploy Coupa system and their solution in Continental Hockey League in Eastern or Russia and Eastern Europe, and as well as Finnish Ice Hockey League. Why this ice hockey is interesting example from our point of view is that if you think about players on the ice who skate much faster than the runners, as well as the puck that goes at the speed of 150 kilometers per hour, it really puts the system and the system performance in the test, and we are able to track this all in real time with sub-meter. Actually, it's I think around 30 centimeter accuracy. Next slide, please. So here we have an overview of the Coupa solution and its components. So on the left hand side, top on the left hand side, we have Coupa locators. The one square one is something which is kind of IP rated outside locator, and the smaller round one is indoor locator. And the way the system works, these locators are like antennas. You can imagine them as a spotlight. So they, depending how high you put them, they generate underneath the accurate area where they are sort of listening the tags that are sending the broadcasting the BLE packet in Kuuppa format. So, and on these locators, they are connected with the PoE or the Ethernet cable to the server, and the server or switch, however you, depending how you build the network infrastructure there, runs Kuuppa positioning engine, which is sort of the secret sauce behind the positioning. So Kuuppa position engine has an algorithm that converts the angles into the XY position. And from Kuuppa position engine, there is an open API that enables our solution provider and system integrator partners then to consume the coordinates as well as the data that we, or sensor data that we also channel to the positioning engine in their applications and systems. So we do the infrastructure. We have the special packet format for the tags, and we don't necessarily do the tags, but we have a format that tag manufacturers are using, and then we do the locator and the positioning. Next slide, please. All right, so and then very quickly the technology, the positioning approach itself. So unlike, for example, typical beaconing or RSSI based systems where you want to have at least, let's say, 3 gateways receiving the signal from same tag in order to do trilateration or triangulation, Kuuppa doesn't need that. We basically, what we do, we are computing the angles, azimuth and elevation angles, if you want to have these sort of more scientific terms, and then they're converted into coordinates. We do have a special set of software to design the deployment, and then we have also sort of plan and simulate that, and then we do have the positioning engine that can be run in the on-prem server or in the cloud. Next slide, please. So today we're talking about a lot about the industry use cases and the processes around the industry, but there is a lot of also other use cases which we could go in the another webinars. But I think it's important to understand that this high accuracy and very low latency or real time really unlocks a lot of use cases around the sensor data and the spatial data. So basically, by seeing how objects are moving in real time on the floor, you can really make your processes visible. You can get some actionable insights, even if you don't do, if the solution is sort of using the real-time functionality. This highly accurate data really enables you to drill deep into how things are moving in the in your industrial production space or warehouse or logistics space, and then to use that data to do any kind of solution, really. Even something that really requires high accuracy and really real time, like collision avoidance, all these are possible by using the Kuuppa technology. All right, next slide, please. And here are a couple of, I would say, the highlights of the system. So like I've been saying probably many times, the high accuracy is the bread and butter for Kuuppa, as well as the real time. But what's very important, and Ela will drill in more into this, is that as Kuuppa is licensing out their firmware, we have a bunch of tag partners who are designing the tag according to the use case requirements. And since we're able to also to control with the firmware how the tag is broadcasting, we are able to achieve very long battery lives that Ela will talk more about. The gateway itself is also enabled to, can also unlock a lot of other use cases, since it can channel to the sensor data, and therefore you don't really need like separate infrastructure to carry the sensor data on. The system is maintenance free and it's very interference free, what it can be for the radio technology, and it has an open API, and we support the partners along the journey. Next slide, please. So Kuuppa really unlocks the full potential of indoor location-based services without compromising the accuracy, compatibility, and the cost. We have a partner ecosystems who take care of the infrastructure, the devices, and they create the kick-ass solutions such as Orange that make use of our accurate positioning system. Kuuppa is pioneering on the Bluetooth AOA and AOD standard together with BTSIG and its partner to really create global indoor location services to be ready for the standard when it eventually comes out. To leave you with something, remember that Kuuppa is very accurate, it's very versatile, it's scalable, and it's open. That's all from me today. Let's move on.
Thank you. So to build a solution, a geolocation system is not the only one bricks required. So for this customer, we had to find a perfect tag fabric tag maker to be sure that we will be able to adapt the tag to the aeronautical sector. So I will let Ella to present the text.
Thanks, Grégoire, and thanks, Andrew, for the presentation, and good morning, all. So today we take the opportunity of this webinar to present you the type of tags we have been able to deploy for this particular project on the avionics market. But for just before presenting this specific tag, I will take just a couple of minutes in order to present ELA Innovation for the ones who may not know our company. So ELA Innovation is a French company which has been created in 2000, so 20 years ago. So the company has been created with the development of wireless beacon and wireless sensor. At this time, it was based upon the active RFID technology, but after this first technology we have introduced in the market for a few years, let's say BLE or standard BLE beacons and sensor, but also other technology like mesh technology or angle of arrival technology with the Kuuppa partnership. And more recently, we introduced also a LoRa-based product, the LP1 technology. So by this way, you can see that our strategy is really to offer to the industrial players wireless industrial beacons and sensor for all the type of use cases with I would say a key driver in the development of products, which is the ultra low consumption, and by this way, a ultra long or very long life cycle for the beacons. ELA Innovation, just in few figures, is composed of 30 members. We are on the industrial IoT market, so that means we have the possibility to have, let's say, not so bad financial figures, because for the past 6 years we are almost 300% in terms of growth. One thing which is quite important is 40% of our revenue is dedicated to the R&D department or as development of a product, and the fundraising that we succeeded in getting in 2000, let's say end of 2017, beginning of 2018. Part of this fund has been allocated for the development of our product in order to offer a wide range of products. The last but not the least is also just for you for this European presentation, but maybe you know that we have also another presentation as a webinar, which is planned for the USA slot time this end of afternoon. So that means ELA Innovation is present in different countries through our partner, but also thanks to our sales organization, because we have people for French market, for the European countries, but also in Canada and in Miami for the USA and Latin America. So this is who we are. And if you go to our website, you will see that we have 3 product families which are available for the moment. My Active RFID, which is the historical technology, my LoRa, which is the most recent, and my Beacon. And if you're okay, I would like to really present this my Beacon portfolio today, and especially the angle of arrival technology. So we have standard BLE, we have the mesh technology through the partnership with YPass, and we have the angle of arrival based portfolio thanks to the partnership that we have established with Coupa. So today the goal is to present the beacon that we have developed for this particular project, but please keep in mind that this beacon belongs to a wider portfolio with the compatibility or with the technology Coupa, the Coupa technology inside. And something which is quite important for us and quite, I think, important for you, for the user, is all these products are based upon this Coupa partnership. And one of the key points of this partnership, the fact that there is a strong and powerful Coupa certification program, which can guarantee that you will get all the best performances in terms of localization, thanks to the Coupa technology and the compatibility with our beacon. So if you go to our website or to the Coupa website, you will be able to find that we have the BlueSlim ID Coupa and the BluePuck ID Coupa, which are certified. So the BlueSlim ID, as you can see, the perfect tags for the asset tracking or for the people tracking, but for a specific asset, like for instance the IT or telecoms equipment like printer and display, laptop, and so on, but also for the people tracking, if you can place the BlueSlim ID directly on the badge order. The BluePuck ID Coupa is the most powerful tag that we have the Coupa compatibility. So a very long life cycle and very powerful in terms of range. Of course, IP68, so it's for the asset tracking, could be used indoor but also outdoor, depending on the use case. And in addition of these 2 already certified products, since we have our own R&D department, we improve our products. So the Aerial Beacon that we will present is the next slide, which has been designed for this particular project for the avionics markets. Of course, we have the possibility to improve it, and we have a new version which is in progress of certification by Coupa, as well as the Bluecoin ID Coupa. Bluecoin ID Coupa is a standard one. You may know the Bluecoin look and feel. The Aero Beacon is based upon the Bluecoin ID Coupa, but with particular requirement or particular features dedicated for the avionics. The BluePuck Buzz Coupa is something that could be interesting for your use cases. On the BluePuck ID Coupa, on the Bluecoin ID Coupa, you have the Peak to Light feature. Peak to Light feature means that you have the possibility to activate high brightness LED. With the BluePuck Buzz Coupa, in addition to that, you can also activate a buzzer through the Coupa infrastructure, so through the Coupa locators. You can activate this sound alert in order to give the possibility to the user to find in a quicker way the assets, either through the light or through the buzzer. And I will take the opportunity of this webinar just to highlight the new Blue Light ID Beacon that we will introduce in a couple of months in the markets with the different technologies, the standard BLE, the YPass mesh technology, and also the Coupa technology. And this Blue Light ID Coupa will take the advantages from the BlueSlim ID, the Bluecoin ID, and the BluePuck ID. It will be quite almost compact as the BlueSlim ID. It will have the same life cycle than the Bluecoin ID Coupa, despite its very compact form factor, and it will have the same type of range than the BluePuck, since we use the same embedded antenna inside, our own design antenna. And the last but not the least, you will have the possibility to replace by yourself the battery while ensuring an IP65 waterproof ribbon. So all those four beacons, the modified ones or the new ones, will be certified in a couple of months in through the Coupa certification program. But now today, the goal is to really highlight the aerial beacon that we have developed, thanks to the partnership that we have with Orange and with Coupa, in order to provide to the end user the perfect tag for their, I would say, their vertical requirements defined in the avionics market. So we developed this aerial beacon. So first, of course, there is the Coupa technology inside, and by Coupa technology inside, you have to take into account that there is a 3-axis accelerometer, which is mandatory in order to, I will say, to perform the best localization algorithm through the Coupa infrastructure. And by this way, according to the infrastructure of locators, we can have a localization which can be less in terms of accuracy, less than 1 meter, even in this kind of industrial environment, which is quite complex in terms of metallic density. Now, in a mechanical standpoint, as you can see, this aero beacon is quite specific. First, the mounting holes have been improved in order to be more adapted to this industrial mounting requirement from the avionics. But there is also the possibility to use a clamp. You can see in the middle of the tag, there is 2 spaces in order to be sure that the clamp will be well placed to the tag. Of course, the aero beacon, like the Blue Coin ID Coupa or the Blue Puck ID Coupa, will be IP68 waterproof. There is a pick-to-light function, so the possibility to activate a LED through the Coupa network in order to give the possibility to the operator, even if the accuracy is quite good, but in a quick way to find exactly the asset which is searched. All our beacon, whatever the technology, has an NFC chipset inside, so it's quite important for you for the daily operational requirements. If you want to scan, for instance, in order to have a proximity scan, or if you want to change the settings, you can do it even with a mobile equipment, which has to be equipped with the NFC chipset. And the last point, which is, I think, quite important for you, is the life cycle of this aero beacon. So despite of its really compact form factor, and you will see in the next slide, in taking into account the performances that we have in terms of real-time information, we can offer a 5-year life cycle for this aero beacon. I will share with you what has been the configuration which has been tested, validated, and deployed for this project with this 5-year life cycle which has been reached. Next slide, please. Yeah, so just one slide to explain you why this aero beacon has been designed specifically for this market. The features or the characteristics which are listed today could look as quite simple, but are very important for the daily, I would say, daily operation in this 2 manufacturing site in the avionics market. First, it's very compact. It's quite important because, as you see in the presentation, as you saw in the presentation, the type of the assets was quite different. We can have very big assets like stairs, like equipment support, whose size could be 1 meter times 1 meters. But at the opposite, we have very small equipment, like a specific small cases for a specific tool inside. So in order to address all the use cases, the tag has to be very compact. The neon yellow color is quite important. It's ready to find the tool in the case that the tool has been forgotten somewhere or laid somewhere. So it's already way, in addition of the pick-to-light, it's the first visual, I would say, visual impact to find it. And it's in the, I would say, what you have to take into account is in this avionics industry, there is this anti-fraud rules, so the foreign object damage, which is quite important for the security purposes. So this neo-yellow color is one of the way to respect this type of rules. But one thing also is to offer a tag whose surface was flat in order to avoid any risks to be removed from the assets. Okay? And of course, it's quite ruggedized tag. We use for all the others beacon, we use a Delrin material, which is quite resistant against shock and vibration. Next slide. Yeah, okay. And I think that probably for the people who could be interested in this kind of solution and the feedback for this 25,000 units rollout. And this is the configuration which has been defined and tested and validated. So based upon the Coupa technology, based upon the Coupa operating modes, we have been able to deploy this type of beacon with this following configuration, meaning that in case of movement, the tag was able to send a localization information every second. And in case of no movement, when the asset was static, the localization information was every 10 seconds. In addition of that, the configuration gave the opportunity to receive a command from the infrastructure to change the settings, to activate the P2 light every 2 minutes. And taking into account of these three features, these three parameters for the configuration, we are able to guarantee a 5-year life cycle with a use of 1 hour per day for the asset. And 1 hour per day for the asset for this project was, I would say, an average use which was acceptable and reflects how the assets are used in these 2 manufacturing plants. And according to the infrastructure which has been deployed, and according to, I would say, the Coupa technology and this configuration, the accuracy of the localization was lower than 3 meters. So this is really the configuration that we have tested, implemented, and deployed for this project. And as a conclusion for our ELA presentation, please take into account as a global feedback that from the moment that we have started the discussion to develop this aero beacon, specifically for the housing, up to the complete deployment of the 25,000 units, this project lasts between 7 and 8 months, so can give you a good idea of our capacity to address this significant project. I'll let now Grégoire taking the lead of the presentation for the global feedback and conclusion. Thanks.
Thank you, Willie. So today, what we can just remind of this webinar is 4 different things. The first thing is that today we have no mature enough technology to operate in a complex environment and to be able to be deployed in industrial environments. So this is really a key point. Today, the technology are mature. The second point is that, and it's really a feedback from our side where we work closely with the customer, that a deployment of this such thing, it's complex. So we have to follow a step-by-step and systematic process we're used to now in order to fully integrate the customer existing business process. This is really the key point to obtain the right return on investment and to understand really how to use in the best way this kind of solution. regarding this array, what is very interesting is that most of the time you drive a deployment of geolocation solution thanks to one use cases or two use cases, and most of the time you have new and unexpected use cases, which appears during the project. This is really very important to be aware of that and take it as a good opportunity to extend step by step a project to a global evolution of your processes. I think most of you are used to complexity. We're all playing with complexity in our different business. This customer is playing a very an high complexity in their aerospace business. As a BS, we're playing and we know how to deal with complexity in the IoT projects such as this one. So we are really ready to handle this kind of end-to-end project management and system integration around geolocation, both indoor and outdoor, and to help you to digitalize your process and install this kind of solution in your factory or in your company. So thank you to all.
Thank you, everyone. So let's go to the questions. First question, maybe we can answer. Is it possible to change the batteries of the tags by myself? Maybe
so I will take. Okay. I will answer. This is William Messi speaking from ELA Innovation. In fact, it depends on the tags. If we are talking about the aerial beacon or the Bluecoin ID Coupa or BluePoc ID Coupa, you can't replace by yourself the battery because the tag is these tags are IP68 waterproof. They are quite sealed, in fact, but we can offer this service at our factory. For the Blue Light ID, just to highlight the new product, for the Blue Light ID Coupa, you will have the possibility to replace the battery by yourself because it's just a sliding part of the housing while ensuring the IP65 waterproof label.
Okay, next question. How fast is real time? Maybe Santo can answer this question.
All right. I think I already wrote the answer somewhere, but let me recap because I don't see it myself either anymore. So it depends really on the industry. The concept of real time changes on the use case, but in the sports we're talking about something like 300 milliseconds or faster. And in this ice hockey example, we go with the accuracy down to 10 centimeters, and the real time there means 150 milliseconds. So it's blazing fast, to be honest.
Okay, thank you.
One comment on this topic. It's true that real time, it's most of the time it could be seen as difficult to define. But what we see is that with several projects, it's really dependent on the use cases, and we really have to define, and this is a three-party discussion to define how to manage this time with the tag, with the global system, and of course with the data who come from that. So really, it's a third-party discussion with the customer to understand really what is how to work. But something really interesting is that you don't need much of the time. You don't need real time. And what we are doing, for example, in this use cases, is that we are detecting the movement of a tag, and we are reducing the time delay and the time delay between two positions when the tag is moving and when the tag is not moving, when there is no movement of the tool we extend this time to save the battery of the tag.
Okay. Next question, is it possible to detect other BLE devices without changing their firmware?
Okay, I think this is for me as well. From Coupa's point of view, yes, it's possible. The key what you need to have in there is couple lines of code so that you broadcast the packet, the direction finding packet as Coupa has it defined, and therefore you don't need to necessarily run the Coupa firmware. However, it really makes a big difference when you're broadcasting on the edge channels with the Coupa firmware, and then you use all the libraries that we offer. So the quality wisely, it's just recommended.
Okay, maybe one last question. Are there any recommended LTE gateways for the ALA Coupa solution, rather than Ethernet? I think Santtu is for you too.
So we are moving quite a lot of data between the. Maybe we should go back to so the way Coupa system works is that there is a positioning engine that sort of collects all the data from the locators or gateways, if we're talking about those, and the positioning is done on the edge or on the cloud. But there is a lot of data moving depending on the size of the deployment and how many tags you have there. So I wouldn't really go for LTE gateways in this case, if I understood the question correctly.
Okay, perfect. So thank you, everyone. We will send you the presentation and recording just after the session. And if you have any question, you can send them by email, and then we will answer you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thanks. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you to all.
Take care. Stay safe.